You can have the greatest products and be in a busy market and still barely make any sales. If you are someone that is in a busy market, that means that the people are there. So if they're not buying, your booth may just not be doing its job to get them to buy. And what I mean by that is maybe people are walking by, but they're just not stopping. Or they stop for a second and then they keep on walking. Maybe they're glancing at your table, but they're not touching anything, or they pick something up and then they put it right back down. They may be asking you questions, acting like they're actually interested, but then they don't even buy in the end. That is not a foot traffic problem. That is a conversion problem. And in the business world, conversion just means turning someone who is interested in your product, so a potential, into someone who is actually purchasing from you. And I know your goal isn't just to get people to look at your stuff or to act interested. You want consistent sales and you want to actually be able to make money from your booth. Now, I have a three-part system called the Booth to Business System that is helping vendors go from hobbyists to business owners. And it breaks down into three phases. Phase one is turning foot traffic into transactions. There's phase two, which is turning sales into profit. And then phase three, turning your good weekends into your normal weekends. Today, in this video, we're going to be focusing on phase one, where I'm going to be showing you exactly where your booth is breaking down and how to fix it so more of your foot traffic actually turns into sales. By the way, my name is Kayla and I've been a flea market vendor along with my mom for over 6 years, and I'm also a system strategist. I don't just sell at markets. I pay attention to how vendors succeed, why they tend to struggle, and what it actually takes to get to consistent sales. I'm building the playbook for flea market vendors who want to sell more, keep more of their money, and get to consistent sales. So if you're serious about turning your booth into a business and it's about more than just showing up and hoping for the best for you, then that is exactly what I teach. So go ahead and make sure that you subscribe to this channel for more videos, and be sure to join my private Facebook group. I'm going to be leaving the link down in the description below, where I'll be also providing more tips and resources, breaking down my system even deeper for vendors like you. I hear vendors say it all the time. I need more customers. I need to change up my products. Maybe I should lower my prices. Now, I'm not saying that those are horrible things to do and that you shouldn't do those things, but you shouldn't do them just because you feel like you have to. Let's just say more people come to your booth right now. Would they actually buy? Would all of those people buy? Or would more people just walk past or glance and leave? A booth that isn't set up to receive or convert will expose the underlying patterns that are already there. Your booth has three core jobs. Job one is to get people to stop. Job two is to get people to shop. And job three is to get people to buy. If it's not doing those three things and doing them consistently, you are leaking sales. And when I say leaking sales, I mean people are already showing interest. They're ready to spend their money, but something in your setup is causing them to drop off before they make that decision to buy. So you're doing the hard part already, getting the attention, but you're not capturing the sale. Okay, so now let me show you exactly where those leaks are happening and how to start fixing them. Let's start with getting people to stop. When people don't stop, your booth is not interrupting movement. And that is what you want. That is what you need. You have about 3 to 5 seconds to catch their attention and help people make that decision if you're worth stopping for. And when I say if you're worth stopping for, I'm talking about your products. So I do want to make that very clear that we're not helping them make the decision if you as a person are worth it, if your products are worth stopping for. If you don't make that decision making process easy for them, they are going to keep walking. And then that takes away the chance for them to even consider your products in the first place. So what this could look like is your booth just blends in with everyone else. There's not really a focal point. There's not something grabbing their attention. And there's nothing clearly telling them what it is that you sell, what it is you have to offer, and why they should even care. So in Kingston Kitchen, for example, we recently put up a new sign. It's a big new sign we put up, fresh, hot Jamaican patties. And of course, I've been paying attention to the behavior around that sign, and people are now literally stopping just to read it. That's how we're catching their attention in less than 5 seconds. We've got that sign. I'm going to make a video in the future breaking down the sign, everything that we have on it, but it's getting people to stop, and that's what we want. It's nothing super fancy. It's just chalk on a chalkboard, but the strategy that we put behind it as to what is actually on the sign is working for us. And some booths do not have that. They don't have anything grabbing attention or pulling people in. And that is a stop, or what I call a stop zone problem. When the stop zone works properly, people are not going to just walk on by. They're going to slow down, they're going to take a look at what you've got, and then they're going to choose whether they actually want to look further into what it is that you have. But you want to make it as easy for them as possible to actually give them the opportunity of making that decision in the first place. You need their eyeballs on your stuff to check out what you got. Now we're going to move into core job number 2, which is to actually get people to shop. So there could be multiple reasons why someone would stop and then decide they don't want to move forward into that next step of shopping with you. But what I tend to notice is that when some people don't shop, it's usually because they don't know where to focus or they don't know what to specifically focus on. Sometimes it can get too overwhelming, not knowing where to look or what they should be looking at. Kind of just, if there's too much going on, it causes people overwhelmed, which leads to not wanting to shop with you. And that is what I call a shop flow problem. So how your booth guides someone's eyes and their movements and their behaviors is the shop flow. Once someone transitions from the stop phase, they're making that next decision. Is it worth my time to look more closely and determine if this is something that I actually want? That's what's going on in their heads. And your booth's job is to help them answer that. Now, what a shop flow problem can look like is they'll stop, but only for a few seconds. Or their eyes will scan quickly and there's not really any clear focus. They may look a little confused, or you may see some overwhelm on their faces. Or they don't touch anything, they don't show any deeper interest, or they just decide they don't want to move any deeper into your booth, literally or physically deeper into your booth. Some booths do not have a clear starting point, and everything becomes the focus, which prevents anything from really standing out. When your shop flow is working for you, people stay longer, they stay and browse, give you more of their time. They start touching products, they start smelling if you have products that have a smell. They start asking questions, and they actually explore what you have instead of just glancing and then leaving. So at this point, we've covered what it looks like when people aren't stopping, what it looks like if they're stopping, but they're not actually engaging and shopping. And both of those may be costing you sales. Now we're going to move into what it looks like when people don't buy. Core job number 3 is to get people to spend some money. So getting people to buy. People can be ready to buy and still not buy. And I see it happen all the time. Actually, I see it happen every weekend. I've seen it happen here. I see it happen over on our boutique side. I see it with other vendors. I've watched someone come up ready to order and then walk away because one piece of the experience felt like it was missing for them. For example, here in the kitchen, someone wanted to order a patty, but we didn't have cocoa bread to go with it. So if you are familiar with Jamaican culture, or if you're Jamaican yourself, you know that it's norm for people to eat our Jamaican patties with cocoa bread. Now, it's a long story why we don't have cocoa bread anymore. I'll probably go into a different video about that. But because we didn't have the cocoa bread, they didn't want the patty at all. So there we go. We had a sale lost because of that. Another example is someone wanted some tallow fries, but they didn't want to wait the wait that it took. They didn't want to wait the wait time that it took for us to fry the fries, which is fine. That is their decision. But that's just another example how people can be ready to buy and then not buy. For us, that was more of a friction problem than a product problem. And also, like I said, I see the same thing at our boutique booth as well. People will pick up the bag charms, they'll look at them, hold them for a second, and then put them down and walk away. And that moment is where the sale is either made or it's lost. Interest wasn't the issue in that case. There is just something that got in the way of them finishing that purchase decision. So I'm actually getting more time to actually pay attention to behaviors that are happening in our boutique booth as well. Right now, most of my attention has been going to Kingston Kitchen, however, but I will be putting more time to look into the data into that as well. What I've learned from all of this is that if something feels incomplete or inconvenient for a buyer, they hesitate. And hesitation does not help sales, it can kill sales. Other signs of a buy problem are if they ask you questions, but they stall. Or they'll say, I'll be back. How many of your vendors have heard, I'll come back later, I'll be back? Or my husband has the money, I have to wait for my husband. Or they ponder, but then they don't fully commit. And I do want to add this, if you're someone who is sitting in your booth and you're always on your phone and you're not acknowledging the person that's actually walking up ready to give you some money, you're not giving people a chance to buy, and that's not going to help your sales either. And I do feel like I have to say that because that is not a foot traffic problem. That is a buy problem, or what I would call providing or putting some friction between you actually making the sale. So when job number 3 is doing its job, which is getting the person to buy, people are going to move naturally from looking and browsing to buying. They're going to feel confident, clear, and supported in their purchasing, and they are definitely ready to make that buying decision without any help. Okay, a little homework for you, but don't fret, this is going to be super simple. Next time you're at your booth, do a little more than just track your sales. Watch how many people walk past, how many people actually stop, how many people pick something up, touch something, or how many people smell if you have products that they can smell, and then how many people actually buy. Now, I know you may be saying, when I'm busy selling, I don't have time to pay attention to all of that, but I bet you that you are already noticing these things, you're just not thinking about tracking it. So just as much as you can pay attention to what is happening in your space, around your booth, in your booth, just track it, tally it off. Get a little notebook, tally it off, because you are going to start noticing things the more that I talk about it, the more that you become aware of it, you're going to notice it more. It'll become habit for you, which is my goal for you, is for tracking those behaviors, paying attention to them becomes a habit for you. Noticing the gaps are going to show you exactly where you have leaks. They're going to show you exactly where you may be leaking sales. Now, when you fix those 3 core jobs or fix any of the jobs that may be causing leaks for you, you're going to start to notice that you will see some consistent and predictable sales. You will see some improvements from the foot traffic that you already have. I want you to consider that your booth isn't just your setup, it's a system. And right now, most booths are set up to only be browse friendly. They're not set up for people to actually take the next step and buy. And that's exactly why I created the Booth to Business system, to help you turn foot traffic into transactions, turn your sales into profit, and turn those good weekends into your normal weekends. Now, here's the thing. Before you are ready to focus on phase 2, turning sales into profit and getting more customers, you have to improve on what is happening with the customers that are already in front of you and ready to buy. Once you can consistently turn that attention into sales, then you're ready to turn those sales into actual profit. At this point, most vendors can tell something is off, so you probably can tell something is off, but you don't actually know where you're losing any sales, why things aren't working out for you. And that's exactly what I want to help you figure out. So if you want help identifying where your booth may be leaking or where you may have some fragile points, whether it's getting people to stop, getting them to actually shop, or to actually buy, I do offer a booth diagnostic where we can break that down and map out what you should be fixing first. You can book that using the link down below in the description. I would love to speak with you. As a reminder, this is for vendors who are serious about turning their booth into a business and are actually ready to fix what may not be working. Until next time, thank you for watching and happy vending.